All right, welcome back, folks, to the main quest order tournament in this wonderful 2023 year. As we see Ryan versus Skarfelt going to be duking it out in the grand finals. And this is not a best of one as we've seen so far throughout the rest of the bracket. No, indeed, this is going to be a best of three series. So Skarfelt, even though they took a win in game number one, that's right, they have to close out like at least one more game in order to be able to walk away with the crown. Ryan still finishing with quite a deficit versus their opponent in game number one as Skarfelt put on a dominant display. But they have a chance here. They have a chance to bring it back, rewind time, be able to take a win here, and then potentially take it to game number three if they want to stay alive. But Scar just putting on quite a showcase. But that being said, I am Covert Muffin as well as Undercover something or another, and I am joined here by none other than 2Kill on the mic. 2Kill, are you number two?
I am so ready to see more absolute fantastic gameplay. We've seen quite an amazing game number one, and I just hope that both of these players are keeping it up, and for Ryan to potentially save some minutes here and there, and to be able to get a bit closer to Scar, their opponent. But yeah, we are about to head into our next game. So Muffin, what is your favorite part of the speedrun? What are you looking forward to the most?
You know what? I just really like launch because the most superior mid-range category gets launched like 10 minutes earlier than this category. So I'm just really excited to see that gameplay once they finally get to the most powerful and awesome skill in the entire run. But also just sort of kind of like the story of this race, right? Scar finishing under 1 minute away from their personal best time, right? Like Ryan and Scar were the only two runners to be able to finish under sub 1 hour within the qualifier races. But like just Scar, if they are able to stay close to their PB as they were in game number one, then that is going to spell victory for them, right? Because Scar is the world record holder in this second best mid-range category and on the entire leaderboard. And I mean, they got tournament personal best, right? Like both in quals and brackets, right? Like Scar, like finished with their fastest possible time within the tournament itself. So if they're able to like post up another time like that, they're definitely going to be taking the win here. But as we see, our runners are now underway. Ryan's going to be in the top left. Skarfelt is going to be in the top right with their respective timers are showcased down below the game screens.
Yeah, and just with every other category, we start by skipping the prologue, 10 minutes off the timer gone. No need to watch it. We're gonna watch some other long cutscenes later on, but for now we're just collecting Spirit Light, moving to the right to get to our first weapon here, and you can see all the micro optimizations that Scar is just doing, QT aiming everything. Unfortunately missed that first Spirit Light here, so did need to redo that section, because that didn't produce a save here. Hopefully gets it this time. Yes, can continue onwards. That is timeless though, especially in the early game. Might mean that Ryan is a hit here for now. Gonna do some pause floats here to be able to, wow, move to the right real far. Damn, that is quite a distance.
Yeah, it's amazing. Just very nominative of Skarfelt to show off the attack, but Ryan on the left is going to be the first to reach this torch flow. Beautiful stuff. I mean, we saw this first try from them in the first game. Let's see if they get this next one first try. This is really important for Ryan if they're able to nail this. Yes, and they get it. Very nicely done. Like, this is exactly what Ryan needs to do if they want to be able to take a game win versus Scar, right? Every single fraction of a second, Scar is going to be saving time over them, right? They know how good Scar is. They know exactly the type of gameplay and style that Scar spends on these sequence breaks. But yeah, Scar continuing to make mistakes in this very initial portion of the run. So if this continues to happen, right, this could be really good for Ryan. And yes, Scar struggling with the skip again, right? In game one, they saw them get a second try, but yeah, they're still able to match that pace. So if Scar is able to continue this consistency with the sequence breaks, this could be a close race. But oh yeah, they get the Spirit Light pickup there. So they're going to get some additional Spirit Light for a little bit of safety, but also just a little bit of padding for them as they are going to be heading into the mid-game portion. I'm really interested to see what Ryan's going to be doing for their Spirit Light routing. Are they going to do the same thing in game number one, intentionally skipping a Spirit Light pickup on an initial fall, or did they actually end up getting it? I didn't see. I missed it.
they got all of the important tricks first try, so actually saving quite a bit of time here compared to their opponent Scar, and is gonna move on to the first escape of the game. Of course, a very, very easy one, just needs to jump and hold right. Now gets the second torch to be able to defeat Howl here in optimally very quick time. Oh, does get the far right movement, so needs to move back, gets it now. QTMs to be able to save that cutscene as Scar is entering the fight. We have about 15 seconds of difference as of the second keystone, so Ryan is in the lead, and we are gonna see a bit of a resync from our restreamer side to be able to sync the timers, so we actually know how far apart our two runners are, and you can see it's not quite as much as it might have appeared to be, simply because of the removed load times here.
All right, so once again, we have a resync on the timer so that we can clearly see that Ryan is indeed going to be in the lead here, as they are going to be progressing into the sword tree itself. So really nice gameplay from Ryan. Also great gameplay from Scar. Just a few mistakes from Scar is going to cause this timing differential between the two runners. So if Ryan is able to maintain this padding, this could be really good for them in the early game portions. But this is like a 1 hour category, or I mean a 55-minute category, as we saw from Skarfelt in that first beautiful game number 1 performance that we saw from them, giving them a win in this best of 3 series. So if they're able to maintain that gameplay, that could be incredible. But Ryan is looking really low there. Yeah, they do not have full confidence that they are going to be able to nail this slightly faster move. No, they are able. They were able to hit that save checkpoint, quit to menu in order to be able to hit that checkpoint and reload onto that. And then they're going to be quitting to menu once again. So Skarfelt taking a slightly slower but also much safer route in order to be able to get over. Nice stuff from both of our runners.
Yeah, we have an excellent early game from both our runners, and hopefully they can keep it up. I want to see a bit of a closer match this time. Hopefully Scar is gonna show off a bit longer, a bit more to be able to catch up here, and hopefully Ryan is not gonna make too many mistakes. So far still in the lead here at Double Jump Tree as the first runner. Of course, the difference is a bit smaller than it appears, yet again due to load times, but is still in the lead as Scar is only getting to that tree now, and Ryan already leaving the area. About 6 seconds of difference on this second skill tree, as we are coming up to a trick that in the first game kind of gave a bit of difficulty towards Ryan. We'll see how he manages it this time, as Skarfelt also picked up double jump now and moves through the area the same way that Ryan just did.
Yeah, Ori takes in chat for both of our runners that they are going to be coming up to the most difficult sequence break within the entire speed run of this category itself. So Ryan on the left is going to be jumping up, doing a nice sword hover there. No, up slash, nice to retain their height. They're going to quit to menu at that keystone in order to save just a tiny fraction of time. And so now the attempts are going to be able to begin for our runner Ryan on the left. So are they going to get this first try? Oh, beautiful stuff. Yes, they get the height, and they're able to get up first try. Beautiful stuff from Ryan. So really great adjustment there from game number 1. I mean, Ryan's early game from the previous game in this best of 3 series was incredible to see, but they had a lot of struggle with that sequence break in particular. So getting that first try absolutely is going to be a boost from confidence. Ryan in the chat after like game number 1 was like, don't worry, next game, I'm going to play better. And they are absolutely living up to that and showcasing why they are absolutely the number 2 seed. As Skarfelt able also to be able to get up incredibly fast. Just incredible stuff from both of our speedrunners to kill.
Yeah, amazing to see. We can watch both of them progress through the world. Ryan getting this chart to be able to deal more damage in the late game, and Skarfelt picking up some extra health for an upcoming trick, as well as just collecting more spirit light. Ryan, one of his favorite skills for sure here with the region, is going to use it for incredible speed. I think we see it for healing maybe 2 or 3 times during the entire run, at least in the most optimal way, but we are going to see it for speed quite a lot, especially on Ryan's side. As we are getting another tiny resync, and we can see Ryan is just leaving the tree area as Scar is collecting the tree. So really close here in the early game. And Ryan this time around with a bit of a lead.
Okay, Ryan is absolutely going to be scoping their experience, and it looks like that they went for the same Spirit Light routing that they ended up going for in game number 1. So this is going to be a little bit of time save for Skarfelt over their opponent, as Skarfelt actually ended up getting that Spirit Light as they were like falling down initially. So Ryan's going to have to spend an extra second or so here to be able to get the Spirit Light. Doesn't quite get the movement that they were able to get in game number 1, going down to half of a health, but okay, nice sword hover there, able to get the experience. So this is definitely going to be time safe for Skarfelt versus their opponent. But Ryan is going to be looking for good Spirit Light. I think this drops 3, and yes, it does. So Ryan is going to be now on the left going for a sequence break. Nice sword hover, able to get the difficult jumps as well. And beautiful stuff from Ryan, able to nail that sequence break first try. And I imagine Skarfelt on the right is going to be able to match them pace for pace.
Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna see the same trick here. Gets up and absolutely no problem. Now is on to over as well, as both of them have picked up sentry. Can use it for sentry jumps, as Skarfelt is showing off on the right. Just a huge burst of height really quickly on the expense of currently 1 energy. So need to be very deliberate with where they want to place their sentry jumps. But this area specifically is, making use of that, especially because we get a bunch of energy refills in quick succession.
Yeah, beautiful stuff. And just as a state of the race, it looks like that Ryan, because they had to grab the extra Spirit Light pickup, but also a little bit of movement difficulty as Skarfelt was able to execute very, very beautifully. Skarfelt has closed that distance, so now, at the activation of grabbing Sentry from the shop, Ryan's still in the lead. They still have a 3-second lead over their opponent, but is that enough for the early game? As we come up to another incredibly difficult sequence of sequence breaks for our runners, which is going to be the Poison Swim. So Ryan just really needs to continue this pace, continue just nailing the incredibly difficult stuff, as well as nailing a lot of very small optimizations in movement in order to stay with their opponent. But Skarfelt making up time over their opponent. If they're able to keep this up, they will sure be in the lead as they head into the mid-game portions.
Yeah, our runners are basically synced here at Bowtree, and Ryan did have a bit of trouble with getting the ice stones, whereas Skarfelt is just blazing through that entire region. No problem here, so yeah, at this point Skarfelt is definitely in the lead as we're approaching this very hard trick that you mentioned, and hopefully for both our runners they are gonna get it first try. And Ryan will be the first on the screen to be able to attempt it and try for it, as he gets this mandatory next health fragment to be able to get to 4 health and be able to even do this trick, because we need to take some intentional damage. And it does do so. Needs to get the save point here. Nicely done. Intentional death to reset your health. And then, wow, first try, very nicely done. Let's watch it again on the right side. Skarfelt attempting it as well. Gets the save, gets the QTM to be able to reset a bit quicker and continue on.
All right, nicely done from both of our runners. Able to get through first try, just beautiful stuff. So Ryan, on the left, nice sentry jump there, just on their last legs of energy. So they're going to quit to menu at the lever, not only to be able to save a little bit of time, but also to refresh a little bit of health as well as a little bit of energy. And so they are able to get through, as Skarfelt is now going to be matching pace for pace, right? Half of a health as well as 1 full energy. Yeah, Scar is able to get up there, no problem. But Ryan's going to be the first to get over here to Dash Tree, doing a quick quit to menu in order to save just a tiny little bit of time, as they are going to be grabbing some additional Spirit Light before heading back up to be able to backtrack and enter that next incredibly difficult, incredibly spooky Poison Swim section.
Yeah, and yet again, I just want to point out that the timer does not tell the entire story. Scar is indeed still ahead here. Just the timer is more decent due to some more QTMs on their side. Ryan moving upwards, getting this pogo here, is gonna go for this. Yes! Very nicely done. Gets the upwards boost on the pole. That is just, I think he said 1 and 4 for him, so very nice that he can show it off in the race.
Cool, good stuff from Ryan, and as well as Skarfelt being able to move up incredibly quickly. On the right, Skarfelt's going to be bopping that slime up, nice downward slash in order to get a pogo. Gets a little bit of a ceiling bonk, so not quite optimal, but still nice stuff from Skarfelt, able to get through. As Ryan, we are going to see the gameplay screen pause, and that's just simply because we are going to be resyncing the timers in order to be able to show exactly who is actually in the lead, as Skarfelt going to be doing a quit to menu here in order to save just a tiny little bit of time. So we will see as Skarfelt's timer hits 10:37, we will see Ryan's screen actually end up unpausing. So Skarfelt definitely in the clear lead here, but on the right, Skarfelt is going to be going for the next leg of the poison swim, which is actually a bit more difficult. Gets the first checkpoint. Now they're going to be going for an intentional death here on some spikes. Nicely done. Gets it incredibly quickly. And are they able to get out? They are, but on the left, Ryan now going for the second poison swim section themselves. Gets the first checkpoint. Are they able to get through the harder section first try? Let's find out. Oh, I don't know about that death there. It looks like it was from poison water. Ryan recognizes that, so they are going to be taking a next intentional death, and they're able to get through second try. Nicely done from Ryan. Both of our runners putting on in a beautiful showcase, showing off these incredibly difficult sequence breaks. All right, and so now Skarfelt is going to be continuing on over to the right as we see Ryan getting an energy refill and then coming over to activate a switch in order to open up the same section that we see Skarfelt entering through now. And shout out to the Mokies, hello, at the waypoint there. And then upcoming is going to be an incredibly important sequence break, right? So like normally this is going to be the second boss fight in a normal playthrough of the game, but we're just going to be jumping over it. So here on the right, Skarfelt doing sentry jump, not getting the height that they needed. So, oh yeah, just recognizing that they did not have enough energy to retry the trick. And yeah, taking intentional death there in order to be able to get enough energy back to go for this a second try. And so Skarfelt able to get over, but Ryan, beautiful jump there, saving a great amount of time over their opponent, getting it first try versus Skarfelt second try. And that's going to be really good for Ryan, and that's going to spell an update for the state of the race. All right, so both of our runners now activating Bash Tree. They are going to get over, and once again, we see a desync on the timers, but that's just simply because our runners are utilizing something known as time without loads, which basically means that we're only timing the runners on the gameplay itself, because various hardware and software differences between the runners could cause discrepancies, right? And so as speedrunners, it's important to be able to set up a comparative atmosphere where our runners can be as comfortable and as well showcased in a competitive setting. But don't worry, folks. We will let you know, exactly which runner is in the lead. But very interesting here, routing sort of thing for the category itself. We're actually not capable of entering multiple depths, but just coming over here for this bow shard is going to speed up various sections of the run, including some arena fights, but almost more importantly is going to be the hornbug fight, which we saw both of the runners sequence break, which we'll be coming back to later on to be able to kill that boss itself. So here we're going to see the gameplay pause once again for Ryan in order to be able to resync the timers, but beautiful movement here from Skarfelt. Nice sentry jumps, intentional damage taking from those spikes in order to be able to set up for those sentry jumps sooner rather than later. And so we're going to see that Scar is still in the lead, but this is a matter of seconds, folks. So both of our runners putting on an incredible showcase for this early game portions, and I am just really excited to see 2Kill coming into Glades, what both of our runners are going to be able to showcase as they head over to Wellspring.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Glades is one of those sections that is insane in terms of vertical movement. Not as much horizontal movement, but we're gonna see some good speed here.
Indeed. So nice wave dashes from both of our runners. Ryan with a nice, actually, like a slowdown. I can't believe I'm saying that, but a slowdown there to be able to move through a little bit quicker through that horizontal section. Nice wave dash there from Ryan, able to get in, but on the right, Skarfelt is going to be going for a little bit of a dialogue skip. Yeah, jumping immediately after they dash into the ground. Beautiful stuff. Skarfelt able to skip that dialogue. We're going to see if Ryan is going to be able to match that pace, but Skarfelt on the right, going for a wave dash, has to go for a few attempts, but still nailing that beautiful horizontal speed as they are going to be grabbing Overcharge, which is an amazing shard, as well as upgrading one of their bow shards. that they picked up earlier in the run. Okay, Skarfelt, nice sentry jump there. They are actually a little bit short on Spirit Light, which is fascinating. This is actually big for the state of the race, right? Skarfelt not having the amount of Spirit Light that they want is now going to actually have to go back to the shop. And Skarfelt, did that Spirit Light pickup actually end up saving? I don't think it did, and it wasn't enough Spirit Light. So Ryan is going to be the first to start heading over to Wellspring. This is massive for the state of the race, right? Ryan able to stay within single seconds versus their opponent as they were heading over to Glades. But now the story of the race is going to be Wellspring. If Ryan is able to just continue their clean execution, this could spell a victory for Ryan as they are heading into the mid and late game portions. So if they are able to capitalize on this massive mistake from Skarfelt, we could see a game 3 in this best of 3 grand finals. All right, and now continuing on, Ryan, beautiful wave dash, going for an up slash, beautiful. They were able to just barely land on that platform. I cannot stress enough, a lot of these sequences of movement tech are incredibly precise. Skarfelt bogging their head a little bit on the ceiling, so they are going to lose half an energy there, right? We picked up Overcharge as a shard, which is going to remove half of the energy cost from all of the abilities that we actually end up casting. But nice stuff from Ryan. They are able to get in, and Ryan's going to be the first to be able to enter Wellspring Dungeon itself as we are going to head into the 3-piece dungeon itself. Skarfelt, nice awareness as they are going to be taking a damage boost there, right? Just removing Overcharge to take less damage, and it pays off from Skarfelt. Nice menu management to just recognize, and beautiful there to just guarantee that they don't take a death if they actually make a slight slip up. Just really cool stuff, right? And I love seeing this in tournament strats, right? Skarfelt did not get as optimal movement as we saw from Ryan, but what they did do is guarantee that they mitigated time loss. And that's the more important thing, especially in speedrunning in a no reset fashion against an opponent itself, right? Same category, same route, same general movement from both of the runners. So if you're able to mitigate mistakes, then you can capitalize more on the mistakes from the opponent. But Ryan is not making any mistakes as they are heading now deeper into the dungeon itself, opening the exit so that they are going to be able to progress through after grabbing Grapple Tree. But Skarfelt, hot on their heels, even with that Spirit Light deficiency, not quite getting the upgrades that they necessarily wanted to in time for Hornbug. So nice adjustment from Skarfelt, but Ryan in a commanding lead here in this early game portion. All right, cool. So Ryan now grabbing Grapple here. They are going to be progressing over. Nice quit to menu from them. Skarfelt, nice grabbing that Spirit Light there. Able to get up and sequence break the right side of the dungeon. But yeah, Skarfelt, wow, this is not the gameplay that we saw in game number 1 from them, right? Just tiny little slip-ups, having to cast some additional sentries here, additional sentries there, right? And so if this continues up and Ryan is able to continue to play clean, Ryan's going to be able to maintain this lead. But really important here for Ryan, are they going to be able to get this damage boost through the lasers? Yes, they are. And so they are going to be the first to enter this arena. But Skarfelt taking a little bit of a different route, right? We saw Ryan grab that lever on their way to Grapple Tree, but Scar instead is going to be doing some beautiful grapple movement to be able to make it up to the lever. For Ryan on the left, nice arena so far, but they still have to be careful. No, Ryan takes a death, and so they're going to have to restart that arena from scratch. This is exactly what Skarfelt needed in order to be able to claw back into this run, and that has to be really scary for Ryan, right? They're not just down a game in this grand final series, but also they're facing the world record holder themselves in this category, right? So taking a death there is going to be time loss from them, going to be a little bit spooky. So we're going to see how Ryan's going to be playing as they progress through, but still in the lead versus their opponent as we see Skarfelt on the right, just absolutely masterfully working through the arena that Ryan just finished. All right, but that being said, folks, we are going to be getting a little bit of a caster change. Major shout outs to you, 2Kill. Thank you so much for joining me for game 1 and for a good portion of this early game in game 2. But don't worry, folks, I'm going to be here with you for the rest of this game as well for the next if we see a grand finals best, like going to a game 3 itself. But nice sentry jumps from Ryan there on the left, able to get up and through. Nice grapples as well. And yes, deft movement from Ryan. Absolutely not of their gameplay, able to work through the dungeon, but on the right, beautiful wave dash from Skarfelt, able to get through, and whoa, that looked a little bit close to accidentally hitting the spikes, but Skarfelt just showing how comfortable they are. Oh, yeah, just barely missing the movement that they may have wanted to be able to get. But nice back from Skarfelt, slowing down the game by nearly half a second, but able to catch the laser cycle that they wanted. But man, both of our runners just showing off impressive stuff. Incredible backups, incredible nominative play from both of the runners. Ryan hitting double frame perfect sentry jumps in the middle of the air. That is a frame perfect 3-frame window. But on the left, watch this. Is Ryan going to get the skip first try? Oh no, they're going to have to quit the menu, so this is a little bit slower, but on the right, Skarfelt is now going to be heading into the same room. And we saw Skarfelt get the second fastest method for that cutscene skip. And so if they're able to match that, that's going to be even more time save over their opponent. But Ryan, beautiful stuff in the escape sequence so fast. But on the right, let's see. Skarfelt, do they get the pause? No, they're also going to have to quit the menu. So not quite the movement that Skarfelt may have been hoping for, but still being pace for pace, not trading time save or time loss versus their opponent in that. But Ryan has been doing a beautiful escape sequence so fast. But, yeah, they're coming through. Are they going to go for the sentry jump? No! Oh, they had a grapple mistake! This could just happen! Ryan taking a death has to restart the escape, and so Skarfelt now is going to be in the lead. All right, Skarfelt continuing through, but they're on 1 health. They cannot take another hit, but Skarfelt, nice, is able to delay enough for the grapple itself. Ryan on the left, no, takes another death. No, Ryan. Oh, no. Oh, this is so sad, but Ryan, this is not over. You still have 40 minutes, my friend, in this run itself, but Skarfelt is going to be the soggiest so far. So for all of their difficulties in various early game sections, Skarfelt, with the cleanest of clean water escapes, is going to be taking the lead here in this race. So really incredible stuff. And this is what tournaments are made off of, folks, right? This is the grand finals, but Ryan still just going for the optimal timings, dashing just barely over spikes, grappling at really specific times. 1 lantern, 2 lanterns, 3 lanterns. Do they go for 4? Indeed they do, for that extra little bit of safety. So nicely done from Ryan. They are able to get through the sequence break. But man, this is the tough thing in tournaments, right? Like, Ryan may have just psyched themselves out of that one segment, causing them to bust a mistake, right? Nerves, times, this all can be on the line in a tournament section. But the good thing for Ryan is that he has a few seconds to breathe here in this cutscene, right? Gathering their wits, gathering their strength in order to be able to head towards the mid-game portions. But Skarfelt on the right, only on 1 health. This can be incredibly scary as they are heading into Luma pools.
Yeah, hey Muffin, I heard there's an incredibly close race going on. I feel like I cursed it a bit joining the moment we're doing that neck-and-neck escape, as you mentioned. That is over now, we have a bit of a breathing room, so let's have a look on the right as Ska is setting up for that beautiful mid-air sentry entry. Doesn't quite get it, but has enough energy to do the recovery here, so will not lose too much time out of the wave dash and can now enter the pools area.
All right, Zemsis, thank you so much for joining me on Cons. It's great to cast with you, my friend. But yeah, the story of the race so far is that Ryan, with a beautiful execution in early game, was able to take a multi-second lead versus their opponent. Tries to go for an optimal shot there on the left, not quite getting it, but that is okay. But Skarfelt on the right is going to be in the lead here in Luma pools. And so in this category, self main quest order, once again, we have to hit sort of story checkpoints at a specific cadence at specific times. But it's totally okay that we're coming into this late game section itself like earlier, right? Because the flag itself that was activated for the story progression is actually at the boss fight, right? So like for this conditional element, for the conditional category itself, this is actually not breaking the rules for the category. So the main reason that we're doing this is for twofold. One is to get Water Dash, which is going to be a little bit quicker to go through the initial portions of Silent Woods, but also because it's going to get us a waypoint right before the boss. But on the right, we're going to see Skarfelt. Are they able to get it? No, they actually do not get the door. So this could be massive for Ryan if Skarfelt gets really bad RNG here. As they're reloading this cutscene, this could bring Ryan back into the race, back into the lead. And yeah, Skarfelt once again not quite getting the door. This is massive, Zemsis.
It's kind of redemption for last race, isn't it? We had the triple reload on last race, so it's only fair that Sky gets 3-2, but it's actually even more. Still has to reload here. We're on reload 4, and Ryan, we just need to hope that Ryan gets to capitalize on this, maybe gets the door open on the first attempt. Sky's getting infinited here. Just look at this. Gets a nice sentry here on Ryan's side, and the door is open. That's the lead chain.
Oh my goodness, Ryan able to get through first try. Skarfelt still getting cursed by the doors. What is this racism? This is unreal. Oh, this is exactly what Ryan needed after those slight missteps in the escape. They were able to get through. But the good news is that we're playing with time without loads. As Skarfelt is able to finally get through. So only like a few seconds of time loss every single time they go through that door because the timer is going to be paused on the loads itself. So we will get an update for you at the Water Dash tree as to see who is ahead, who's behind. But wow, what a dramatic turn of events.
Yeah, we have like those two major RNG points. Sure, Shriek has a bunch of patterns, but we know the true final boss in this game is that single door in 6 times it took to get it to open. So as you mentioned with that, we can now finally get a bit of a comparison here once all those quick to menus are done at the Water Dash tree. Nice keystone collecting from both players, and it looks like we still have about a 30-40 second-ish lead here on Scar's side, but still after the tiny bits of trouble and the Wellspring escape, these kind of things are exactly what Ryan needs here to catch up.
Indeed. So we're going to see Ryan's game screen pause on the left, and that's just simply for restreaming factors, right? In order to be able to resync the timers. So this is going to give the viewers a really clear comparison as to who is ahead. So when Skarfelt's timer reaches that 24:51 mark, we will be unpausing Ryan's stream. Skarfelt, nicely done, able to recover from the just horrendous RNG, right? Getting the 6th try door. And Skarfelt actually just posted in like the Discord, 6th try door. It's like, yeah, I feel you, Scar. Like this is like one of the few portions of like bad RNG within the speed game itself. And it's all because we took the intentional death to be able to skip a water puzzle early on. But just very nominative from Scar to just go for other stuff. Ooh, takes a little bit of damage from Hornbug. So yeah, they're gonna opt to be able to take down the Mosquito with a couple of extra bow shots. But yeah, Scar just clearly in the lead here, but just by barely so, right? It's like a teleport animation and a boss fight. But yeah, Scar on half health here. They have to be so careful because if they take a death, they have to restart the boss fight from scratch. So just being very careful, staying a little bit further away from the boss to guarantee that they don't get hit. And Scar able to get through Hornbug first try. So literally all that's like separating our two runners is like a single boss fight. So this run is incredibly close. But after this, we're going to see our runners continue with the story, talking to Qualak in order to get the first quote-unquote wisp of the, second wisp of the game itself in order to be able to get an extra health and energy, but more importantly, to be able to stay within the line with the rules of the category before heading over to the right.
Yeah, and you can see both of our runners. It's exactly one Hornbug fight separating both of them. So we are at still about a 30-second difference here. That's how long the Hornbug fight took. And with that, we are now back to traversing the map, this time towards the right, as you mentioned. We do have main story to definitely watch and not skip because it's faster to sequence break a little bit without activating any triggers here. So eyes on the right. Scar not happy with that jump, but happy on the second one. Manages to skip the first trigger, grapples over, very nicely done. And with that, we can do the first parts of Silent Woods before getting our best friend.
All right, indeed. So coming through Silent Woods, nice move from Scar. Yeah, just delaying slightly with that double jump to be able to catch that bubble. So entering the keystones into the door there, going to sentry jump. Nice, able to get that frame perfect trick, able to get enough of height. But in Silent Woods, there's going to be a lot of time movement. Wow, Scar just going for a wave dash there. Beautiful. That's an incredibly precise one, but it's not over yet. Scar going for one of the more precise tricks. And yes, they're able to get through and get coup skip. So it's going to be really important for Ryan here, Zem, to be able to match that pace for pace. Are they able to get those more precise tricks? And wow, just Skarfelt just putting on such a clinic, beautiful sentry jumps here and there to be able to get through and get to this keystone section.
Yeah, these skips in particular are so incredibly important, and the saves are quite a bit away, so you really want to nail your sentries, not run out of energy. We've seen that before in the tournament. You only get so many attempts on getting enough height here, but Ryan does it, not quite first try, but does get it second try. Still looking great. Let's see how this is going. Does also get a nice height out of that aerial sentry, so Ryan basically in the clear here, doesn't quite get the sentry dash there, but is now able. Oh, we're farming for energy, right?
Yeah, for sure. So like energy is going to be incredibly important because every single sentry jump actually ends up costing a single energy. Ryan just a little bit of a struggle here coming through Silent Woods, able to get the sentry jump that they were looking for. And I like this from Ryan, right? Just like restarting their strats in order to be able to get through this section, right? And like as speedrunners, especially in a no reset setting, it's going to be important that our runners go for strats that they're most comfortable with, right? So if you go for stuff that maybe you haven't practiced, that could cause you to generate even more time loss, right? And so like in like speedrunning and tournaments, it's more important to like mitigate time loss than it is to actually go for just sort of like optimal time save, right? So comfort leads to consistency. And so the trouble for Ryan is that Skarfelt, their comfort, yeah, it's going for optimal backups. It's going for optimal strats in the first place. So this is really looking good for Skarfelt, even though they got some really unfortunate RNG in that Luma pool section. But they're just able to continue to capitalize on just nailing all this difficult movement. And speaking of which, going for under, no, they miss it! I'm sorry, Skarfelt. But yeah, they're not even going to retry that, right? That doesn't actually save any time to go under that log. It's just purely for swag. So Skarfelt, I love you. I appreciate that you would go for these strats, but that is actually going to be some nice time save for Ryan if they are going to be taking the safer and slightly faster route as they go through that section.
Yeah, we're talking about time saves in the realm of 1 to 2 seconds here, right? But we have a total of 30 seconds to make up here, so every second counts. So one of those small deaths, in the end, we still have the giant shriek segment and also those little time saves everywhere that can and absolutely will add up over time. So hopefully Ryan not going for a swag strats and losing time on it, but if we've seen one thing from the first race, then that we're gonna see upper path here. So there we go. No gray goop here on Ryan's side. Gets to save those 2 seconds.
All right, indeed. So here, just coming through the coup section, we are now going to be putting coup down for a nap. Nope, they're not going to die. This is not them dying. No, chat, this is not sad. I'm not almost tearing up at this section. No, not indeed. We're just simply putting our friend down for a little bit of nappy time. Ryan, on the left, having a little bit of struggle with the platforming, maybe just trying to go for some swag stuff and just like missing it, or just a little bit of tournament nerves, no problem. But on the left, is Ryan going to be going for, yeah, they're going for the quit to menu here in order to try and be able to skip a little bit of a cutscene later in this section. So we're going to see how their platforming is as they are going through. So yeah, just jumping off of the ground is going to be a little bit quicker. They bonk their head on the ceiling though. So this could be really tight. Yeah, it looks like they're going to get peekaboo here from Coup. No, they they're able to get it. Yes, so Ryan circling there on their screen, just recognizing that they also are slightly surprised that they were able to nail that movement to be able to go through. So nice stuff from Ryan, but Skarfelt, story of the tournament, going up game number 1 in this best of 3 series, and currently in the lead in a commanding faction heading into the mid-game portions.
I'm looking so forward though to getting the next big timings at our big checkpoints here, because honestly it's been looking pretty good. There's like tiny bits of time loss here and there, but except for that one big problem in Wellspring, Ryan really has been making sure he can keep on Scar's tail and make sure that once maybe, I don't know, a background attack, an accidental extra dash in the Mora fight, or anything that could be one of those bigger deaths happen, that Ryan will be able to still be in a position to capitalize.
All right, and so we are now going to be continuing through a little bit of a blip on Skarfelt's side, just an OBS little hiccup, but don't worry, we're going to be getting that game feed back as soon as possible. We may see a pause in the race potentially from our runners in order to be able to keep this going, but Ryan is still going to be progressing over to the left, now heading down towards Moldwood Depths, which is going to be one of the spookier sections, but don't worry, Twitch chat, we have the most powerful skill in the game, which is going to be Bow. And so Bow is going to allow us to be able to remove the darkness as we head in. And like in Moldwood in particular, as our game screens are going to be going down for a sec, don't worry, folks. It's totally okay. We'll get them back as soon as possible. This is just technical difficulty. This just happens. But yes, so Skarfelt on the right is going to be able to continue through Moldwood. Nice movement here. Yeah, using the bow to be able to refresh that darkness timer, as I was mentioning earlier. And then nice wave dash there, able to get up. And we see Ryan is quote unquote in the lead, but this actually isn't true, just simply because of the way that we actually end up timing this category. So you'll notice that there is a desync in the timers. Don't worry about that. That just is simply because we actually time this game with time without loads in order to be able to increase comparability between our runners. So Skarfelt definitely still in a commanding lead, as both of our runners are going to be entering the Mora fight.
And let's have a look at how it's going. On the left, we can already see the first stun with the knockback breaking the wall. Quite a few of those bow shots actually missing, but now back into the rhythm. Gets the nice scream, and with that, we are done with phase 1. Can swap into the escape sequence, take a quick death to refill here. Now waiting for all the stuff to drop. Meanwhile, on the right, Scar mostly done with their cutscene, so we're gonna go into phase 1 of the Mora fight, to swapping over to Bow, and let's see how quickly Scar can dispatch the spider.
Okay, nicely done from both of our runners in the first phase. Scar maybe not getting the patterns that they want from the fight so far. Nice dodge there from Scar on 3 health. They have to be very careful not to take 2 hits from the boss itself. But yeah, the hurt box is very small on Mora, but nice movement there. Their energy is low, but they're able to head into the second phase. Meanwhile, on the right, Ryan is going to be heading into the darkness portion of the final phase itself. Oh, bad pattern for Ryan here on the left. Mora just ended up heading over to the left, but nice pace from Ryan, able to get through down to 3 health. Oh, yeah, nice dodge there from Ryan, able to get through the fight first try. And now Skarfelt is going to be heading into the third phase itself.
Yeah, that's the scariest part of the boss rush done for Ryan, but let's see how Scar is doing on the right here. Mora doing a few jumps, staying on the right side of the screen. We have basically constant shooting, even if our energy is going a bit low, but Scar keeping that one shot worth of energy to get a full refill of the crystal, and Mora seems to be quite happy to just jump on the right for now, and as long as that happens, Scar can absolutely murder the spider, and with that, Scar is also out of the fight.
Wow. Nice stuff from both of our runners. Great boss fights, respectively, as Ryan on the left is going to be heading into Bower's Reach. So here they are going to be doing Flap and then switching to regen. Not quite going for a slightly faster method that only saves a split second of time, so I don't blame them. But switching over to regen off of Flap can actually allow you to head a little bit to the left if you time it properly. But nice movement from Ryan going over the Frozen Flower in order to be able to skip having to head that sort of ice physics on the little bit of the hanging tentacle. So very nicely done. Skarfelt on the right. Went for a cutscene skip, not quite getting it, but that's okay. It's just a little bit of dialogue that they have to actually end up mashing through and then heading over into Bowers itself. Ryan on the left, though, is going to be the first gameplay wise, as we see our runners both side by side to be able to head over into this section. Nice movement there, but Skarfelt still absolutely in a commanding lead.
Yeah, just to give you a bit of an update, at the end of the Mora fight, Scar was actually 140, about 140-ish ahead here of Ryan. So, as you can see with the decent timers, we might be looking at pretty similar areas, but the loads have told a different story. Now, on the left, Ryan getting very nice sentry jumps here, using the sentry explosion as a grenade replacement to trigger the lanterns, and with that we are getting into a bit of a tiny fight room here on the left. Just gonna deal with some of those Gorlegs by bashing off of them, and then we're getting doesn't quite get all of the shots in here on the first cycle. So that's like another what is a bash in this game? Are we still talking about 20 frames here? Those are the kinds of time frames we are looking at here. Another shield Gorleg on the left, getting the shots in, and yeah, just one more, and then we actually get to glide a bit.
All right, indeed. Nice arenas from from Ryan itself, just that slight slip up. So they are going to be heading up to the escape. Oh, Ryan taking a little bit of an unintentional death there, so that they are going to have to restart this movement sequence, and Ryan just barely missing that spinner paddle itself. So Ryan with just like a couple deaths here, a couple deaths there is going to allow Scar to be able to just continue to capitalize on this lead. And really, this is it, folks. Like, this could be the final game of the entire tournament. If Skarfelt is able to continue to maintain this lead and able to capitalize on these slight slip ups from Ryan, they are going to be walking away with the crown, right? This is the grand final. It's a best of 3 series. So Scar on the right, continuing on with some beautiful arena fights. But on the left, Ryan going for this incredible difficult sequence break, gets up there second try, and let's see if their position is good. And it is. The escape sequence ends up starting. Ryan took an unintentional death in game number 1, so it's really critical for Ryan, for them to be able to come through here and like showcase off that they can do it. Beautiful regen jump there, being able to fall down while casting regenerate, which normally you cannot do. So just very nominative gameplay from Ryan to be able to showcase off this beautiful pieces of tech here and there to showcase that they know how to optimally work through this game. As Skarfelt on the right, now going for their own cutscene skip to enter the escape sequence.
Yeah, Ryan's side making good work of the escape, so let's see if Scar has the same performance. Not quite getting the first wave dash, but getting the second one, and now in the escape itself. Let's see, skipping the surfing here on the ground, then using those pokers to get a bit more downwards momentum. Nice dashing through the spike segment, and sadly we do not quite have Burrow to quick boost through that, but then in the air we can do some resets for quicker dashes, and now nice dash off of the falling tree, and with that Scar is also done with the escape.
I think one of the funniest things there with that wave dash is that if you're going too fast, you can accidentally pop over the flag to end the escape sequence, but you still continue falling down. So nicely done, Skarfelt, from avoiding that lock there. It's not quite a soft lock because you can still sentry jump back up in order to like reactivate the flag, but it's just a very funny case of time loss, which I definitely have done multiple times in speedrunning this game. But both the runners here now entering the qualic fight. We did go through Luma pools and get water dash quite early in the run itself, but we did not activate this fight because we have to activate this story trigger after we initially get the wisp from Qualock itself. So here Qualock is possessed by a spooky monster that we saw in the clean water escape in Wellspring. But after this escape sequence, we are going to be coming into the arena itself. So Nice escape from Ryan. There actually is like no real rubber banding to that escape, so it is a little bit of an auto score. But here for Ryan, massive health pool, but also massive hurt box. Nice early sentry there before Qualic was able to actually be targetable by damage sources and is able to get into it, but actually takes a damage here from the tentacle. But nice pattern there as Qualic is now going to be entering the next phase. Ryan breaking that energy crystal at the last possible moment is now going to be unequipping overcharge and equipping a damage source, a shard to be able to increase their damage. But Ryan taking some additional hits. Are they going to be able to close out this fight? They cannot get hit again. Ryan, they're on a fraction of health, but Ryan able to get through first try.
Nice caster curse on Qualic there, cursing Qualic himself. That's good for our runners. Now Scar on the right getting exploding projectiles, deciding to reflect one of those for some extra damage and not taking damage, seeing how the angle of that was going. But look at that health bar. Water is still filling up and Qualic almost completely gone. Also on about 2 and a fraction of health here. Probably doesn't want to take 2 hits, but 1 should be fine. So with a few more slashes, that's it for Scar. Qualic on both sides down.
All right, indeed. So now both of our runners are going to have a little bit of story time as we are going to see Sleepy Qualic end up ascending into the Etherverse. As Skarfelt having a little bit of difficulty with the mid-air sentries. Yeah, they are going to have to just climb up normally. And so it's like very interesting, right? Like going for these optimal plays. Like, are they... All right, I take it back. Skarfelt going for a little bit of swag there, just doing a sentry jump in order to be able to look left during this cutscene. So they are not going to acknowledge that Qualic is going to be being a little bit sleepy here. So nice play from Skarfelt. I absolutely love this flavor, just showing off that they're not only here to attempt to win the crown for the main quest order tournament, but indeed they are here to have fun. So thank you so much, Scar, as well as Ryan. This has been an amazing series so far, as Ryan is now going to be teleporting out after this fight.
Yeah, remember Swag is always at least time neutral. So looking to the left, definitely a big advantage here during the cutscene. But yeah, let's see how Ryan is doing now. We collected a bunch of wisps and we really wanna actually use them. So it's time to go back to Silent Woods and head to the rightmost area of the map where we can use all these wisps to open a single door.
Indeed. Okay, so on the left, we're going to see Ryan, gameplay-wise, is going to be showcasing in the lead here as they head into Feeding Ground Skip, but Skarfelt still in a commanding lead coming out of the Qualic fight. Beautiful mid-air sentries. Those were textbook. Those were perfect. Oh, but they just missed that one. No, Sam. They needed one more in order to be able to skip this small, tiny little cutscene, but just absolutely beautiful Feeding Ground Skip from Ryan, just missing the tiniest last frame perfect trick in order to be able to skip that small portion, but still nailing the majority of them. But Scar on the right is now going to be going for their Feeding Ground Skip. Are they going to get optimal, or are they going to match Ryan pace for pace in this section? Let's see. Skarfelt, nice downward slash there, going for the first mid-air sentry, gets it. Second one, textbook, going up. Oh, yeah, not quite getting those. So they're going to go back for the wall. They are committing to this trick. And Skarfelt, yes, gets the backup. So honestly, that might actually be parity with Ryan, even though Ryan had to watch the small cutscene, but just going for those retries. But I do appreciate that from Skarfelt, just like sticking once again with what they're comfortable with, right? Just nailing that sequence break and just going for the backups to just say, hey, I'm committed to this. And so it's going to be faster for me overall as a personal runner to be able to continue to go for this trick than it is to actually fail it. So just beautiful stuff from Skarfelt and beautiful stuff from Ryan.
Indeed. And you know, it's always also keep in the flow, especially once you're in the late game portion. The movement is, it has been insane throughout the entire run, let's be honest, but it's not gonna get any less insane. For now, it's basically just some swimming in the sand, but in just a moment, we are gonna be chaining all of our movement tech once again here. Ryan on the left, not quite getting the height he wants, but now with the grounded sentry jump is able to get up to the keystone door. On the right, Scar now also doing their sand water dashing while getting up. Let's see if we can get the immediate jump up here. Yes, indeed, one sentry jump. So also now to the door. Now we have a bit of an escort mission here because we do have some doors that are incredibly in the way. So we're gonna need to lure those torpedo shots, breaking some walls, but that's also those angles are more than practice enough, so we can just kind of dash through the area. Torpedo should probably, alright, I almost thought I cursed the corner there, but as we all know, jinxes do not exist. So with that, all the walls are broken, and it is a time to go into the spinning laser.
Yeah, nice damage boost there from Ryan to be able to get through that section incredibly fast, right? Taking the damage is going to be faster than just waiting for the laser cycle itself. So nice sequence break from Ryan there through the laser. Meanwhile, Skarfelt on the right takes a little bit of an unintentional death. This is going to be a bit tricky. So Ryan on game screen-wise is going to be the first to enter Storytime Temple, but Skarfelt is quickly behind and still definitely in the lead here in this game number 2 of the best of 3. And this is like honestly really the story of the race itself. I mean, honestly, this one is still a lot closer than it was in game number 1, right? Like Skarfelt just mid-game in game number 1 had a lot of really incredible and beautiful movement in those mid-game sections, allowing them to claw like a multi-minute lead ahead of their opponent. And Ryan just like took a lot of unintentional deaths. But for Ryan's part in game number 2, right? Like they said between the games, hey, I'm going to step up. Game 2, I'm going to play better. And indeed, they've been able to showcase that, right? Early game was really, really great, just taking a couple deaths in the water escape itself. But their mid game has been absolutely incredible, an absolute delight to be able to watch. And so heading into the late game portions, that is absolutely critical, right? Willow's End is still the hardest dungeon, in my opinion, in the entire speedrun itself. It's the most technical, it's the most fast paced, but also things deal a lot more damage in the late game than they do in the early game. So mistakes, right? Mistakes are easier to come by, and oftentimes they can be a lot more punishing, especially in Willow's End.
Indeed, Malvin. And to get there, we still have one bit, well, casual players would call it horrifying. I'm sure our runners are more than practiced enough to no longer hold it end to end, but the sandworm escape and some waiting is still in front of us. So on the left, Ryan now wave dashing into some lore as we do in our lore percent speedrun, and afterwards, we have one escape segment to do before we are actually allowed to head over to our final dungeon.
Indeed. So just a quick update for our viewers. I know this can be a little bit confusing, but the timers are unsynced, and this is simply because we're running with time without loads, which basically means that the timers are going to pause during load screens. And this is because those load times can actually vary between runners. And because that's not really, like, our runners can't themselves speed up or slow down those loads themselves, we just want to have the comparability only be on the gameplay itself. So having the time without loads makes our races, our competition a lot more comparable, and that is important for us here. So, but that being said, for the viewers as well, we saw that at Burrow Tree, Skarfelt was in the lead by about 2 minutes. So yes, it looks like Ryan is going to be entering this escape sequence first, but that is not the case for what is actually happening on in reality. Skarfelt definitely in a commanding lead, and this is exactly what they want, right? Like their late game, especially their Willow's End in game number 1, was immaculate, right? And so if they are able to showcase that level of execution in the final dungeon itself, then they are going to be capable and able to walk away as the tournament winner, because this indeed is a best of 3 series. But Ryan on the left is starting off their escape.
Indeed, taking the intentional death at the start to get the starting portion out of the way, and now in the escape, dashing, grappling, not quite getting into the first sand wall, but then nice aerial sentry there, skipping the left sand segment entirely, and now continuing to chain, doesn't quite get the extended wave dash there with the sentry jump, instead doing some sword dashes to keep on the ground. Now we're gonna have to wait for just a few seconds as the sandworm does a little loop-de-loop, opening the way in front of us, and beautiful down into a horizontal dash there to get some extra speed out of that. Now in the final segment of the escape, skipping the grapple with a nice sentry jump once again before wave dashing off the wall, and with that Ryan is out.
Wow, nice escape sequence from Ryan, and that is, like, honestly, quite difficult to do, especially with nailing those dashes through the sand consistently, right? Like, on keyboard and mouse, you only have an 8-coordinate system, as Zemsis was alluding to, and so it can make a lot of those dash sequences, especially at the end, incredibly scary, especially with the boss rubber banding and staying incredibly close to us. But Skarfelt on the right, yeah, just a slight slip up, but no, able to recover. So beautiful stuff from Skarfelt, just showing off why they are the world record holder, why they are just so incredibly good at nailing these consistently fast times within this game itself. Just showcasing that they are not only good at hitting optimal strats, but also mitigating time loss in a near optimal fashion. Just beautiful stuff, and Skarfelt is going to be doing a little bit of a wiggle for a bit of a memes, but yeah, pausing once again to teleport out, because this does actually end up saving time. And a fun, negative thing that comes from this is that we are going to be entering Willow's End with 1 less health, 1 less energy. So yes, technically we do hit the story flag for completing Sire itself, but no, we do not have the complete full Wisp 5 factor in order to be able to progress into the late game itself. So yeah, entering on less energy, less health, but yeah, just saving time because we're speedrunners and we like taking risks.
Yeah, sadly, safety gets quite in the way of going fast sometimes, so there's no way we're taking that extra health. And honestly, once we stack like Overcharge, Reckless, and all that stuff, what is 1 HP really? The extra energy is quite nice, getting extra chances on sentry jumps. Oh, eyes on the right, Scar setting up, getting the area sentry, and with that, nice. I love this movement. This and Pool's entry, honestly, it's the same thing, but that doesn't make it any less awesome.
Yeah, indeed. I love to see it as both of our runners going through the arena. Nice arena from Ryan. Nice bashes, nice bows as they're showing off some wave dashes as they're waiting for the elevator to rise. Let's see if they actually get the one that ends up saving time. Okay, they're setting up for it. Beautiful stuff from Ryan. That one is actually a lot more difficult than they made it look. So we're going to see if Skarfelt is going to be able to match them pace for pace. But Ryan, game screen wise, they are going to be the first to actually get to the launch tree, even though that Skarfelt has over a 2-minute lead after that escape sequence itself. But Scar also just showing off some nice sword cancellations into dash in order to be able to showcase off their speed tech. And yes, they are going to be heading up for the wave dash. Do they get it on the right? And yes, they do. Very nicely done from Scar. Taking a little bit of damage, but that's totally okay as long as they're able to make it to the launch tree without taking a death.
And that they do indeed. One more reload on the trees to skip a tree cutscene, getting the most overpowered skill in the history of both games launch. Now we get to fly even more and even more intended, honestly, than everything else we have been doing throughout the entire run. But Ryan has been entering Willow, gets booped on the laser, but can pogo on the explosions, only on 1 HP, but that's fine as long as we get to the heart and get our nice autosave reload. And let's see if the heart is broken after the reload. Trying to keep this long because Will of the Wisp reloads sure take a while. And yes, looking great. That load got removed, and with that, 1 heart down as Scar is also entering the Willow on the right.
All right, indeed. So as Ryan is going to be coming through, they are continuing through this heart. Nice launches, able to get through those lasers fast. And wow, they actually go through go through that laser without actually taking any damage. Just very impressive stuff from them. So yeah, able to get out and through, just nicely done from the hearts, right? Like, as I was mentioning and alluding to, like, Will's End is incredibly technical, as we see Scar just taking an unintentional death there as they're trying to get back into the main section, right? And so, like, all of the, yeah, just that swimming little, like, pink elemental is just popping out of the water at the perfectly wrong time, right? Like, our runners have to just deal with this. And so the laser cycles are now going to be off for Skarfelt as well. Compared to what they're used to, like, going through this dungeon optimally. So it's just incredible to see our runners adjust, adapt on the fly as they like end up coming through this difficult section. On the left, Ryan going for Quidditch. Oh, that bash is slightly off, so the laser is going to be off. So let's see what Ryan does for adjust. Yeah, they're going to take an intentional death in order to try for Quidditch again, but this is exactly what Scar needs to just continue to capitalize on their lead in this final leg of the dungeon, as well as potentially the tournament. But Ryan able to get Quidditch second try.
Indeed, yeah, Quidditch, one of those tricks, always great to look at. Scar also breaking the shot, gets a bit of a quicker death here on the exploding mine, so doesn't quite move that far, but also is gonna need to attempt the second time, so getting a bit more of a steeper angle here, and gets it second try too. So far tied here on our Willow. I'd say that as Ryan flies into the spikes here. These segments a bit more on the other side. Mostly Willow has a bunch of checkpoints, so deaths are mostly in the 2-3 second range, but they're like those some areas where, well, we don't have checkpoints in the air, so if you take a death there, that's some extra seconds lost. But the burrow heart now broken on the left, Scar also breaking it on the right, entering the burrow area before reloading, skipping the cutscene once again, and with that we have about half of Willow done.
Indeed. Okay, so Ryan on the left is going through. Nice launch there, able to get through. Takes the intentional damage boost there. This is not gameplay that we saw from Ryan in their previous races, but they absolutely have adapted to try and go for these optimal plays. Beautiful stuff from Ryan, able to get to that heart. First try, no problem, as Skarfelt on the right takes a little bit of a death, but no problem. I mean, this is just very nominative of Scar to just go, wow, these beautiful weaves and these wraps across damage sources and trying to, like, get through as quickly as possible. And so just really cool stuff from both of our runners. I mean, man, like, just watching one of these runners is just an absolute treat, but watching both of them, like, at the same time, this is just so amazing. I could not imagine a better grand finals.
Honestly, do I have to say more than between launch and the burrow heart, we were tied on the second between our two runners. The lead hasn't changed by a single moment between those two points in the game. So yeah, wow. Especially with this bit of offset, every time we watch one animation, we just get to see some more amazing movement on the other side. I'm happy.
Yeah, for sure. Me too. And so on the right, we're going to see Skarfelt taking down this mini boss. Is going to actually avoid taking damage, but no, they still land in the damage source itself. But yeah, just melting this boss away with a bow. Nicely done from Scar and Ryan as well. Beautiful stuff. Ryan on the left taking a little bit of unintentional damage. And so yeah, their laser cycles are going to be off. But wow, beautiful. Using the iframes to be able to get through the laser and be able to break down this heart. But it's not over yet. This next sequence of screens on Ryan's side is going to be some of the most difficult, if not the most difficult movement portion in Willow's End. So here they go. They are all going to be slowing down slightly at the front key, and still able to make it with the vulnerability frames, but no! Just because they were a little bit too slow, they are going to have to slow down in this second screen itself. But here on the right, we are going to see how Scar is going to be able to match it pace for pace. But on the left, Ryan's coming into the final leg. They cannot take a damage here, and they don't. Able to make it into the heart and setting up for a little bit of a cutscene skip on that heart. Nicely done. But Scar on the right, a little bit low on health stem, so this is really spooky from Scar.
my god, going on 0.1 here. All this. Well, if you know how much damage you can take, why not use all of it? We are speedrunners after all, and the only important hit point is the very last one, or in this case, the very last 10th of a hit point. Scar now breaking the heart, also skipping via quit to menu as we've seen so often. And yeah, what can I say? There's a door which is very open now, so let us see what Shriek RNG has in store for us.
Yeah, and so just really important thing to clarify once again for your viewers at home is that it's incredibly amazing that Ryan on the game screen is going to be first entering Shriek Fight, but Skarfelt, in terms of time, is still minutes ahead of their opponent. So Ryan really needs to execute here if they want a hope to be able to take it to a game number 3. But all Skarfelt has to do is just be able to execute cleanly as they're going through. But interesting sequence from Scar. They actually ended up doing the hearts in like a slightly different order. I wonder about that. Maybe they just ended up forgetting to go for that burrow heart first before heading through. But oh, Ryan on the left having a little bit of difficulty. They're going to have to sentry jump here. No, they're able to double jump because they still have that off of cooldown. So Ryan, very nice, very impressive that they are more aware of their resources as they're playing through the game instead of me, a caster, who literally all I have to do is watch 2 Graves game screens in a chat window. So great stuff from Ryan.
Just to clarify, Scar actually did not quite get the Barrow Hearts cutscene skip, so had to do that twice. But now we are into the Shriek fight here. Sadly, we don't have Deflector in this category, or the fight would be over after that attack. But with the skills that we have, we are gonna need to lay down the damage now. Ryan into the background attack here will take a bit of a healing here, and if I see this correctly, yeah, that is just barely not enough damage to go. Oh, getting swoops too next. We can get minimal damage in during swoops. Sure, we can get a pogo here, single slash there, but that's really not what you wanna see. Now on the storms here, running actually out of energy, so gonna need to do double jump sword attack, and with that we are in phase 4, taking our intentional death as we usually do to reset both the timer and our resources. And now all there's left is some swooping, as Scar is getting honestly pretty great patterns here on the right.
Yeah, honestly, this is like just incredible for Scar. Just really beautiful fight there. Not even going to be taking an intentional death for a safety heal itself. They want to get this done. They want to take the crown. They want the win. So now on the left, Ryan is going to be the first to on gameplay screen wise, but still slightly behind their opponent by a couple minutes. And so Ryan going to be landing the hits. They are able to get through. So a slightly slower time than maybe they were hoping for, but a 101.55, very respectable, very good time. But Skarfelt on the left, this is it. If they are able to land the hit, they are. So there it is, folks. That is it. Skarfelt putting on a dominating performance in qualifiers, putting on a dominating performance in the bracket phase itself. And they are going to be crowned champion as they are winning game number 2 in the best of 3 series. GG, Skarfelt. Congratulations and well played.
GG indeed, pulling out one sub hour after the other, getting also, let's call it, it was a beautiful Shriek fight, both on the execution and on the RNG, and very well deserved victory here. Scar, GG again.
Indeed. And so, I mean, just really amazing stuff from both of our runners. And yeah, maybe this wasn't the run that Ryan was potentially hoping for in game number 2. They still, like, in all honesty, Zem, like watching both of these games back to back, I am just so impressed by Ryan's gameplay, right? Well, and like, I love that message that they posted in between. They said, I'm going to play better, right? I'm going to execute better. And the timer did not showcase that, but they nailed so many things that they ended up struggling with in game number 1, right? And their early game was like near immaculate. Their mid game was amazing, just like the couple of deaths in that Wellspring escape itself. And honestly, the story at the end of the day is that you're going up against Skarfelt, right? Like if you asked any runner in the interview section at the end of like every single match, who's the one opponent that you don't want to face in a tournament bracket? The answer is Skarfelt, right? And even I think Ryan actually ended up saying this in one of their interviews. And I mean, this shows, right? Like, if you want to beat Skarfelt, you have to nail that sub 1 hour time. And that's it, right? Scar getting a 55 in game number 1, a 59 in game number 2 is just like, that's so nominative of them, and just very impressive play through and through. And no surprise from me that Skarfelt was the favorite to win the entire tournament. And they did, right? They did win the tournament.
Indeed, and yeah, that's how it is, right? Sometimes those world record skills, they will also just show up on stage, and that's exactly what happened here. And speaking of showing up on stage, we have both Ryan and Scar with us for an interview. So first of all, GG, folks.
Thank you very much. Yeah, GG.
Yeah, GG. Okay, so honestly, first question, this is something that's been burning in my brain, like just watching both of these games back to back. Really, one of the biggest differences to me routing-wise was the Spirit Light routing in the early game itself. So Ryan, like putting off that orb before the tree break, is that like just something you've timed out, or is that just like sort of like a cool swag strat that you go for?
It's more like comforts.
Cool.
I feel like for some reason, because I skipped that part at the start, my time is obviously lower at like certain points. And then for some reason I feel more confident because I have a good time, even though I don't. So the rest of the run is usually better because of it.
Oh, that's so cool. I love that. So next question for Skarfelt, right? I mean, as world record holder, right, you had a lot on your shoulders to like just show up and just show off your stuff and show what you can do in the tournament. So just very impressive play through and through. Are there routing differences that you actually consider between going for personal best times and maybe what you try and do in a no reset fashion in these competitive settings?
Yeah, so like, definitely I was kind of nervous coming into this because, you know, obviously I'm like the favorite, right? And
right.
But playing in a race environment is very different.
Yeah.
I don't usually play my runs on stream because I get too distracted streaming, and so what you don't see is the fact that I reset like a lot. I'm not actually that consistent a player. So until we get to points that I'm very comfortable with, but that meant that like playing in a race environment was very different, and there were a few things I changed. I went for a slower version of door skip, which is the main thing. And I went for like all the tricks I was fine going for, but there was a couple of times I went for a bit safer movement. I didn't go for any air sentries that were maybe optimal, but like a bit harder or whatever. But the exception being the first run, because the first run I was felt like very nice, so I was like, I'm just gonna go for all the hard stuff I can.
Cool. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love that sort of like style of gameplay. And so I guess just because I'm really curious, Ryan, like same question to you. Do you actually like switch up what you go for in runs and like in like race settings in terms of routing and like tech that you actually end up busting out? Or do you just like play for your comfort, right? You're here to play your own game.
Well, I did do that at the start. For example, the first run, I did like an easier version of door skip. But I actually started noticing that it's actually more difficult because I do it less. So I'm actually more comfortable doing the more difficult stuff because I do it more often.
Yeah, I love that. It's so true. It's so true. So really like cool sort of aspect. And major shout outs to 2Kill who commentated the first game and some of the second game. Just amazing question, right? So like coming through various sections, right? When you're on low health, how do you manage that? So like resource management is incredibly important in like races, but that can also oftentimes make you more anxious, right? And like cause you to make more mistakes. So do you have various sort of like backup strats in mind for various health? Or do you just like push it to the limits, right? Like you only need a fraction of a health to stay alive. So I guess first, why don't we ask that to Skarfelt? So how do you deal with low health? Do you take safety or do you just continue going?
I just continue going pretty much no matter what.
Yeah.
The exception being, if I need to damage tank, I'll have to change things. Like in Bar's Reach, I deliberately damage tank on my way up the like wind tunnel thing. But I actually took damage because I dashed into some spikes before, so I had to go for a weird backup, which was honestly kind of bad. Like the the optimal backup's actually about as fast, but I messed up the backup and then I had to do backup on the back, that kind of stuff.
Right.
For the most part, though, if I'm low in health, I'll just keep going fast as humanly possible.
And to you, Ryan. So how do you manage your resources? How do you manage like low health and even low energy, honestly, in some sections, as we saw in these races?
I do often try to heal if possible because, of course, dying loses way more, and often when I'm on low health, I get stressed out a bit. For example, on the Bowser's Reach escape, if I have 4 health or less, that's when you die. I always heal at a particular part during the escape, so I don't get hit by something random and die.
Yeah, I love those regen jumps from you, Ryan. Like we just saw those all over the place, and I just love that, like mitigating the time loss of taking safety, right? It's just like such a critical element, especially when you're trying to consistently work through a speed game as complex and difficult as Ori and the Will of the Wisps. But yeah, okay, so I guess just final question for both of you. I mean, it's been like honestly a pretty short tournament, but also just really action-packed. I mean, the story for you, Ryan, has just been so incredibly impressive, right? Just like coming through brackets, right? Like the real highlights were the past few races, as well as these, especially in the grand finals, which were absolutely incredible and a delight to watch. But for just sort of a wrap up of the tournament, Ryan, you took second place here. Congratulations on that in the tournament itself. So do you have any sort of like closing thoughts for the MQO tournament, and what are you planning on doing next?
What I'm gonna do next is I'm actually gonna learn Rio, Reverse Event Order.
Oh, heck yeah.
I promised GTA to learn that, so I will do that. I'm gonna try to get a sub-hour for that. And after that, I'm probably gonna learn Celeste. I've been doing that a bit, and I'm gonna do that more when I get the time.
Nice. Good speed game. Good options. Well, congratulations, Ryan, on taking second place. GG, my friend.
Thank you.
All right, Scar, congratulations taking the crown, taking a dominant fashion, both seeded one coming into the tournament, like in everybody's eyes, as well as taking quals just by storm, right? Only doing 3 of the 5, but all 3 were sub 1 hour in a commanding fashion. Then in game number 1, getting a tournament personal best. Like, are you kidding me? Being less than a minute away from your own personal best, which is the world record for the category. What are your closing thoughts here from the tournament, from your experiences, and what are you going to be doing next?
Yeah, overall, I'm like really happy with how I did. Yes, it turned out to be whenever, like, I was pretty consistent throughout the tournament when I said that was something I was worried about, and my first run was like really good. I was very happy with it. And yeah, I had some good races. Like this one against Ryan that just went, and the one against Zuzek before were pretty close early on. Which was pretty exciting as well. So I was happy to be able to play in it, and that was a lot of fun. As for what I'm doing next, honestly, probably not Ori for some good time. I've kind of accomplished everything with the game I really want to.
Cool.
And getting anything that else I would want to do would be like a long-term project, and I don't really have the motivation to do that sort of thing with Ori right now. So barring like some new big discovery or someone beating my MQO time, please someone do that. Then I probably wouldn't be coming back to the game. Also, it's like, just working on other life stuff, other interests, whatever. But Ori always has a special place in my heart. I put a lot of time into the game, and it is playing MQO is just the most fun gaming thing for me.
Cool.
It's like it is just so much fun. It's like I'm happy to run this category for a long time just because I do enjoy it so much. But at the moment, I'm like, I've kind of done everything I want to do for now, so I'll take a break for a long time anyway.
Nice. All right. Awesome stuff. Skarfelt, just once again, GG. Congratulations on walking away with the crown, with the title as the MQO Tournament champion. GG.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Heck yeah. All right, folks, that's going to do it for us here for the MQO Tournament 2023. My screen name was Covert Muffin, casting both of these games. I was also joined by 2Kill. Thank you so much for stepping up, organizing, as well as helping out behind the scenes, as well as coming and joining on comms for a lot of these races. Major shout outs to you. Also, big shout outs to Zemsis for coming in with a very short notice to help me cast in game number 2. But that being said, also Apple Tree, just thank you so much for restreaming, not just this entire match, but also matches in previous times. Major shout outs to Fupio, the master of stats themselves, for helping truck this one in particular. But folks, this is going to do it for us for this cast. This is going to do it for us for the tournament. If you missed any of the matches, it is absolutely a must watch. Go into that videos tab and check out all of those highlighted VODs. But that being said, from here, from the Ori community, from all of us, from the bottom of our hearts to our top of our minds, thank you so much for watching this tournament. I hope you stay safe and have a wonderful day wherever you are and whatever time you end up watching this, and take care. GG.